The brain is the organ of behavior, right? And we know this from multiple studies. When people get damage to certain parts of their brain, it will change their personality, it will change their thoughts, it will change their behavior. And so inflammation causes damage. But can you walk us through, like, why would an infection lead to a behavior change?
Well, first off, there's this whole thing called sickness behavior. So sickness behavior is what happens when any mammal gets sick, be it a dog or a cat or a human. And what happens is we behave in a way in order to conserve our energy, in order to allow ourselves to heal for our natural healing process. Remember, inflammation isn't bad. Inflammation is how we heal. So we need inflammation to occur. And what happens when we get inflamed? Brain in particular. We get tired. We get this thing called generalized malaise where we don't feel good. And what we want to do is we want to sit down or lie down, stay in bed. And it's all about conserving energy so that energy can be shunted elsewhere to go fight off the infection. So it's all about management, conservation of energy, as long as it's an acute process, meaning it lasts only a few days or a week or two, but no longer. When the system breaks and the system keeps thinking it's sick and inflamed, now what happens is it keeps the inflammatory process going on, which is your immune system, both the innate and the acquired. And as long as that continues to rev up and fire, you're fatigued. You have trouble with focus and concentration. Your brain doesn't work. The areas of the body that turn over the fastest, that grow the fastest, are those most susceptible to damage from inflammation. So in the brain, that area is the dendritic region of the hippocampus. The hippocampus is responsible for consolidation of long-term memory. So what happens is it's constantly taking all of that information in and translating it into long-term processes within the brain. What we do see in people who have chronic inflamed brains, we see loss of volume of different neuronal centers. The hippocampus is one of them. So guess what? You have trouble with focus, concentration, and memory. But the other thing that happens is we refer to this thing called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So the hypothalamus is a nuclei within the brain. Pituitary is that little stalk sitting at the base of the brain. So what happens is the hypothalamus controls the pituitary, which is the master endocrine gland. And one of the things that comes out of that, it controls the adrenals, which is making cortisol and making part of your energy. So too much cortisol isn't a good thing, too little cortisol isn't a good thing. Now, the reality of the matter is that axis is a bit misnamed because it's not the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's the amygdala, hippocampal, hypothalamus, pituitary adrenal axis.
Well, that's just too much for people to say, Dr. Kaplan.
It is a bit, we can get deep into the weeds here.
The whole alphabet.
The fact of the matter is, it is. But the fact of the matter is, when brains get inflamed, brain centers get damaged. Very interesting study. A colleague of mine at Georgetown did. Okay, the military wants to know how to make super soldiers, right? So one of the things they looked at is they said, okay, what makes our special forces guys so much different than everybody else? And one of the answers is an area of the brain called the insular cortex. And the insular cortex is larger in those individuals than in the rest of us. So it builds resilience, ability to adapt, respond. Guess what helps build up the insular cortex? You know, meditation. And she was working specifically with this study. Then the next stage was to prove that it was improving resilience in the field. Their decision-making was better, their focus, their concentration, their ability to maneuver in battle situations, high-stress situations was better. So maybe meditation is a good way to help rebuild your brain. It's not maybe, it is a good way to help build your brain.
So let me ask you, you said build up the insular cortex, but like, what does that mean? Like that it had more blood flow, more metabolic activity? Did the volume increase?
Oh, you can measure differences in the environment. There's lots of studies on insular cortex changes along with meditation. So without question, meditation is a brilliant way to help build resilience within your system. We know some of the specific neuronal centers that get involved, but it also reduces inflammation in the central nervous system.